Uh-oh.
As an avid adventurer, I am sure you're used to those sudden impulses to get out there. However, how familiar are you with the use of unconstrained wild yeast in brewing? We are going to ask you 3 questions related to spontaneously fermented beers. Answer 2 of the 3 questions successfully, and you'll win a beer for one of our audience members. Free beer and a pint glass. Dave, who's John playing for tonight?
Tonight, John's playing for Trace Kerr.
Kerr. So, John, there is your contestant. We'll ask you 3 questions. Are you ready for your first question?
I'm ready.
Question number 1. What is a grisette? Is the answer A, grisette, the name of beer size used when ordering a farmhouse-style ale, much like ordering Starbucks coffee. The gris is the largest size to order, or venti. The gristle is the medium size, or grande. And the grisette is the smallest of sizes, or tall. Or is B, a grisette was the traditional dress worn by female brewers of Belgian farmhouse-style ales. The dress fit tight around the waist, which allowed brewers to stir the kettles of wort, usually waist-high, without interference. Or is the answer C, a grisette is a type of farmhouse-style ale. The most widely known farmhouse ale, the Saison, was brewed mainly for Belgian farm workers. The grisette, a subset of Saison, was brewed for the workers in local mines. So is the answer A, a beer size, B, a brewer's dress, or C, a type of farmhouse ale?
Why get a grisette when you can get a gristle for just 10 cents more?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I always say. It's only 10 cents more.
Oh, you're going to have a little grisette, huh?
I got 8 more ounces.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking there?
I'm going to have to go with, is it B? Is that the one with the grisette is the outfit?
You're going with B.
Is that
the
the
grisette
right?
is the
Can we get some
traditional
hints?
dress.
Traditional dress.
Are you sure?
Maybe you should get
you're
some...
thinking
We
this
got
through.
one audience member, but I think Wayne's been drinking. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
True.
no, I'm going to go with that. That's my final
You're
answer.
going with, that's your final answer.
Yeah.
You're locking in.
Okay.
The answer is actually C.
Bum,
It's a
bum,
type
ba-dum.
of farmhouse ale.
Type of
Now,
farmhouse
here's
ale.
the trick, because I can see where you might get. The grisette is a variation of the popular farmhouse-style ale, the Saison, perhaps taking its name meaning little gray to refer to the gray mining dust that landed in the beer or was on the miners, or maybe even after the gray aprons worn by the women who would serve the beer to the miners. So I'm going to give you the point. Farmhouse-style ales were traditionally brewed, as the name implies, in farmhouses. Spontaneous fermentation may have been a key component to adding the hay, earth, fruit, and barnyard flavors many of these beers are known for. Question 2. Prior to understanding what yeast was, brewers simply knew that something was making their wort turn into beer. According to the best research I could find on the subject, which of the following is a name some of the earliest brewers used to describe this unknown magic? So what did they call yeast before we knew what yeast was? A, is it goddess god or God's gift? Although yeast was unseen and unknown, brewers knew something was at hand and stated it must be a gift from God. Or is it B, das Scheiße, which means the shit in German? When respected German brewer Hans Wegelmann was asked what turns his wort into beer, he simply stated, "Es ist die Scheiße!" He meant it was the unknown yeast thing, not that he was putting feces in his beer.
Right.
Or is it C, the hidden mother? Yeast is the unseen mother that gives birth to beer. Enough said. So is the answer A, goddess God, B, das Scheiße, or C, hidden mother?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
So when I got that Untapped comment the other day, and it said that beer tastes like shit,
Right.
is it possible they just meant it was a little yeasty?
They did, yes. Yes, exactly.
Well, I really liked the yodeling. I thought that was
the
the yodeling was pretty good. So maybe it's the Das Scheist, but probably not. Probably
Okay, not the Scheisse.
Not the Scheisse. I'm leaning towards a hidden answer. What do you guys think? Nothing? Yes?
Audience, can we help him out?
Yeah.
What do you guys think it is?
Okay.
Hidden Mother.
Yep, Hidden Mother.
Well, we're going to take any answer on this one, actually.
Yeah.
Brewing had to have been pretty hit or miss process in its early stages. All fermentation would have been spontaneous in the beginning, with wild yeast mysteriously and magically creating that sweet alcoholic liquid. Yeast wasn't completely understood until the early part of the 1800s when Louis Pasteur penned the findings on pasteurizing beer. No matter if you believe yeast is a gift from God or that Hidden Mother is more than just an awesome new brewery in Spokane, one thing still remains true. Es ist die Scheisse!
Yeah!
Question number 3, perhaps the most well-known of all the spontaneously fermented beers is the lambic. A truly unexpected beer, the lambic has been brewed the same way using wild yeast to ferment the beer for centuries. Which of the following is a true statement when it comes to lambics? Is it A, the wild yeast used to ferment lambics come from the naturally occurring bacteria found in the wool of local sheep in rural regions throughout Belgium, hence the name lambic, making reference to both the sheep, lamb, and the bacteria, ick? Or is it B, much like true champagne can only come from the Champagne region in northern France, and true bourbon can only be made in Kentucky, a true lambic can only be brewed in a small region outside of Brussels, Belgium? Or is it C, lambics are only popular because snooty, sour beer drinkers love all the complex words and phrases they can use to describe them? Words and phrases like, this is pungently wild and funky. It's got an intense framboise finish. This is so Belgian-y and yeasty. This is barnyardy and horse blankety. This is so earthy and animal-like. Dude, it's got a total zippy retronasal. So is the answer A, it's the sheep, B, it's the region, or C, it's the snooty beer snobs?
There's no snooty beer snobs in this room.
Can you get me
Chris,
that? I had one last time I was in. I think it was a bit horse blankety.
Yeah, I love the horse blankety
Chris,
beer.
I always thought that framboise, I always pronounced that from Boise.
Yes.
Yeah, and I thought it was
I
beers
thought
brewed in
that beer
Idaho.
came from Idaho.
It was. I love that. Lindemann's from Boise.
I don't think it's the snooty beer snobs.
Okay.
And I'm not going to think that it's about combining the word lamb and bacteria.
Okay, all right.
Maybe I'll get this one wrong, but I'm going to go with the region.
You are correct.
Yeah.
The answer is the region, although in U.S., most likely C is also true. Yes, lambics are only brewed in a small region just west of Brussels. There were only 8 lambic brewers in the Seine Valley until just recently when 2 more lambic breweries have opened. Largely due to the popularity of sours in the U.S., the demand for lambics is on the rise. Just remember, you got to have it now, craft beer mongers. Lambic takes time, and it's worth the wait. Dave, how did John do on our quiz?
3 out of 3, Chris.
Yeah.
Jon Jonckers, thank you so much for joining us on Wheat, Don't Tell Me. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. That wraps up this part of the show. We'll now take a break and be back in just a moment with another contestant in a game we call Beer Limericks.
Welcome back to the Brewhouse stage at Mountain Lakes Brewing Company in beautiful downtown Spokane, Washington. We're playing Wheat, Don't Tell Me, the Mountain Lakes Beer Quiz with your host, Chris Cindric.
Thank you, Dave. And now the game where you have to listen for the rhyme. It's called Beer Limericks. If you would like to be a future contestant on Wheat, Don't Tell Me, just stop by Mountain Lakes Brewing prior to each show, and we will rate you a 10 on our SRM scale. Hello and welcome. Tell us your name and a little bit about yourself.
My name is Amy Barton, and I too have a podcast, so I love having a microphone in my hand. My podcast is called Brain Junk, and it is about everything you never knew you wanted to know. And I have a partner, Trace Kerr, who won beer earlier.
Trace Kerr won beer earlier.
Yes.
And so Brain Junk, it sounds like kind of cerebral and like fun to learn about brainy stuff, is what I'm thinking.
Everything you never knew you wanted to know. So science and history and culture. Can I tell you my favorite fact?
You can.
So the fart bubble of a blue whale is big enough to fit a horse inside.
Oh, my God. Well, welcome to the show, Amy. Here's what we're going to do at this point in the show. Dave is going to read 3 beer-related limericks with the last word or phrase missing from each. If you can fill in that last word or phrase correctly in 2 of the limericks, you will be a winner. Free beer and a pint glass. Are you ready to play?
I am ready.
So, Amy, who wouldn't like a little beer tour adventure to a country known for its beauty and original beer? Your limericks today deal with origins of beer.
All right.
We'll be focusing on beers and places they originated. Here is your first limerick.
When days grow increasingly shorter, and the fire warms brick and mortar, go down to the pub for some fine English grub, and have them pour you a pint of brown.
Glug. A pint of brown porter.
You are correct. England gave birth to the porter in the 1700s, and it has held strong ever since. Brown porters have no roasted barley character. They are low, medium, and malt sweetness with medium hop bitterness. Porters are the precursor style to stouts. This is kind of a question for our maltster. It's kind of been a whole difficult history in the 1700s of malting, right? A barley to go along with a porter versus now. What does it look like now?
So making malt is kind of like picking the right word in a limerick to rhyme with. There are just so many variables and options to choose from that if you go the wrong route, you can make the totally wrong rhyme and come out with the wrong malt. So particular when guys were making malt in a floor malting style and needing to control their temperatures and their air moisture with less technological means, you could be shooting for a brown malt, you could come out with a black moldy malt, or you could come out with something that was a blondie. So being able to make malt for that desired color can be a real trick, especially if you're doing it in an old style.
So here is your second limerick from Dave.
If you have a guitar, you should tune it while wearing your German wove crewneck and warm Bavarian socks while drinking a Doppelbock, which we all know was first brewed in
Munich?
That is correct. The first Doppelbock was created in 1629 as Salvatore by the monastic Paulaner Brewery in Munich. The Ader suffix has stood since then, and most breweries everywhere end their Doppelbock names with Ader. So we're going to play a little game. I'm going to give you the phrase that describes the type of Doppelbock, and you guys give me the Ader suffix.
Oh, this is great.
So this is a beer that's brewed for people in Florida.
Yeah, that's the
gator.
Yes, the gator.
Yeah, that's where we do this.
This is a beer brewed for teachers of America who always need a drink.
The educator.
Educator. This is brewed for the prosecutor.
The litigator.
The litigator.
Well
this
done,
is
Brian.
brewed
Thanks.
for the dry inland farmer.
The irrigator.
This is brewed for really thirsty, long trail running people. The rehydrator.
Oh,
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
This is brewed for people who suck at adding numbers. The calculator. And this is brewed for people who like to get wasted. The obliterator.
Oh.
Yeah. And this is brewed for folks who want this segment to end.
The beer hater.
No, the see you later.
Who is everybody here?
All right. Here is your third limerick.
Okay.
I do know Pacific from Atlantic, but I'm not sure if limericks are iambic.